Hi, welcome to Digital Learning. I'm Connie Colosi, Director of Media Text and Digital Learning. And for our episode today, I have with me my colleague and friend, Sarah Trulson. Thank you, Sarah.
You're very welcome. I'm glad to be here.
For this episode, we are going to start out by looking at what's new in technology for the 2019-2020 school year, now that we're back. And Sarah, there's all kinds of interesting new things to talk about,
Yes.
right? So first of all, I want to say that this, everyone has this information already if you are in PCS. How would they have it?
Well, a couple emails have been sent out by TIS with the attachment. So if they look back through their email on what's new this year or digital learning newsletter, then they should be able to find that right in their own Outlook mail.
All right, so they got that. I know for me sometimes I look at my email and I think, that's not for me, and dismiss it. Or sometimes I go, gee, that's really important, I'll get back to that later.
Exactly.
And then sometimes I don't get back to it.
Yeah.
So, and then some people are good with the visual and some people are better with the audible. So we're going to have a little discussion about that information.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at some of the topics that were covered in this infamous email we've been discussing in For What's New. So one of the first things was Windows 10. And I have heard that some people have been really excited about Windows 10 and the opportunities it avails. And then I've heard some people that have been really reluctant about moving to Windows 10. So tell us a little bit about why we're doing it and what it'll do for us.
Yeah. So the first piece of it, the kind of bottom line reason is Microsoft, just like with anything in versions, they will no longer be supporting the previous versions of Windows. So you have to move to the new one so that you stay secure and your account can't get hacked and our students' accounts can't get hacked. So from a safety and security standpoint, that's one of the biggest reasons why we've moved. But just from an opportunity in the classroom standpoint, Windows 10 offers so many more awesome tools that just were not available in the previous versions. So for instance, it ties a lot more into Office 365. So if you're using Class Notebook, if you're using Teams, you're able to use all of the great options and new things when you're in the latest operating system.
So one of the things is they have some built-in accessibility tools for students who need some additional support.
Yeah, so one of the great things that Windows 10 has, and in the version that we're pushing out to all the machines, it has a couple things. One of them is the immersive reader. And the really nice thing about the immersive reader is it literally will read documents, websites to students. So if I have a student that needs the text to look a little different, I need it to be a little bit larger or a different color. It used to be that students would get those clear, kind of look like transparencies in different colors to lay on top of things because they needed to be able to see things in a green color or in a yellow color to help with their comprehension. And what's nice is this will do that with all of your online documents. Teachers can even take pictures of things and load them on Windows 10 computer, and it'll do that. The immersive reader will also read the text to students. So if you're struggling with some reading comprehension, or that's something that you have in an IEP, or it's just something that you need to help you, then it will actually read any text to you. So it doesn't have to be something that the teacher's pre-programming that we give to our ESE office and have them, convert to a different format like we had to do years ago. It's something that's just built into the system itself, which is really nice. And those tools, that particular tool is also built into PowerPoint. It's built into Word. It's built into the tools that are on the computer too. The other one is a dictation option. So if students need to dictate what they're expressing, so maybe writing it out is something that's a challenge for you, you can also dictate and it will show in any of the documents, any of the things that you're doing. It'll type out what you're saying.
So Windows 10 gives us some great accessibility tools. Then there's just a lot of really cool shortcuts. Split screen and hiding your desktop, creating different desktops for different periods of the day.
Yes.
So one of the links on this email that we've been discussing is a link to a video with our Alex Heron, who is an expert in these things, and he did a training this summer on it.
Yes.
So if someone is interested in more information, they can find that email, click on that link, and get their own personal Windows 10 tutorial from Alex.
Yeah.
And then go from there. And so Windows 10, it's a have to.
Yes. And once you get used to it,
it's a get
not
to.
so bad. Much better than Windows 8. So if they're worried that I tried Windows 8 on my personal computer and I hated it, Windows 10 is the best of both worlds. Okay. So it really is not hard to use once you get used to it. There will be a learning curve. I'm never going to say there isn't, because it is different. But once you get into it and you understand the pluses and the improvements, then I think people will really like it.
Excellent. So another thing that's new this year is Clever for single sign-on for all staff.
Yes.
So part of that's not new and part of it's new. Tell us about that.
So just to give our viewers an idea of what Clever is, in case they're not sure, Clever is our single sign-on portal. So in other words, we have now a million different, I say a million, but there's lots of them, programs that our students and staff and teachers are trying to access on a daily basis. And, it's hard to remember the various passwords or, web URLs to get to all of these millions of products. So what's nice is Clever allows us to create a link, and in a lot of cases, to set up in the back end how you access all of the different products that we use in the district. So we started using it with our teachers so that they could get in, and our students so they could get into their things really quickly. So it's not taking away from instructional time to search for the various things they're doing. And as we were doing that, we started getting a lot of other members, especially in our administration building, that were saying, and at Walter Pinnell, well, if it's so easy for the kids and teachers, why can't I have that? I want that too. And a lot of times we'd have to say, well, right now we're trying to make it easier for our teachers and students, and hopefully our day will come. And the nice thing is Clever has been listening to districts who've said, we're pretty big. We have other people outside of just the school that need to access things. So they made a new edition this summer called Staff. So now our folks in TIS are able to put all of our different offices, even if you're not at a school, and even if you're a staff member at a school that's not in a classroom, they're able to create an account for you and then kind of create that access to the tools that you use. So things like the Focus, if you need to get into that, or staff self-service, if you need to see, what your paycheck is. You don't have to remember the strange little URL anymore. It's right in there. It's got a nice link to get into Office 365 for staff members so that they don't have to remember that link, and it'll take them right in. All kinds of those different resources that a staff member would need access to.
So some of that stuff used to be on the front page of Focus, and a few people are still a little concerned about that.
Yeah.
But the problem is our digital footprint has grown so much. And so really the Clever page helps us to target the resources that a particular person needs to see.
Yeah.
And so if I don't need to see it or I don't have access to it because a license hasn't been purchased, it won't be there to confuse me.
Exactly. And that does cause confusion. So when staff members or students, families are going in and seeing links to things, they assume if I see it that it's also for me. And when you click on it and you get an error message, it's a little disconcerting. So, it makes it so that our tech help is also loving it because it helps to streamline that. So
we're talking school secretaries,
yes,
HPOs, even bus drivers.
Yeah, everyone can get into Clever and get access to the things that they need.
And so how do they get into Clever? We've got a couple on our screen here.
Yes, so there's a couple ways to get in. If you're at work or you're assigned a district computer, then when you log into your computer is pretty smart. Windows 10 is pretty clever, and that's perfect.
Clever.
It's clever. And it knows who you are. So you're going to see a little blue icon on your desktop. And if you don't have that for whatever reason, when you open up the Chrome browser, you'll see that tiny little blue C up in the right hand. If you click on that, it's going to take you to a page with a link that says log in with Active Directory. You don't need to know what that is, just click on that button. Like I say, if you're on a school computer, it's going to look and say, oh, I know Connie, she's logged into the computer, and it's just going to open up Clever for you. So 2 little clicks. If you're at home on your computer or on an iPad or a different type of device that doesn't know who you are when you log in, then you're going to go to clever.com/in/PCSB, Clever in PCSB, right? And you're going to go to that site and then just choose to log in, and it'll pop up that same login with Active Directory, and it will probably ask you for your credentials. That's just going to be the same username and password that you would use to log into Focus if you use that, or there is the page still on our pcsb.org website, so if you were logging into that to get to resources, it's that same username and password. So that's the beauty of it, is you really only need to remember, for the most part, those 2 things. So,
all right. So Clever, I had people, since this has come out, say, oh, well, I can't get Clever because they got the message they couldn't get it, and now they can.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So that's exciting. Okay, so Windows 10 and Clever, 2 new things.
Yes.
And we're going to take a quick break and come back and talk about more new things. I hope you'll join us.